Unlikely as it sounds, Walt Disney had put up the money for a Californian art school, somewhere a new generation of animators could get culture. And Cal Arts had a film school, and that film school needed a dean.
And it was very free form at the beginning, very undisciplined, and I think that the Disney people, the trustees, got very upset, never more so than at a meeting where I think some of the faculty stripped entirely nude to make a point about something or other, full disclosure possibly, I'm just not sure what. But it was a very, and it continues to be, they've now regularized it some, but it is still probably the most interesting open-minded, avant-garde school of higher education, certainly in the West and almost any place in the country.
My wife phoned up from London and said, this man has come all the way from California over to London to meet you, and there you are in California. And I thought at the moment maybe he was somebody who was interested in backing many of these films that never got made. So I went downtown to see him, and we found out that we had various friends in common, and we spent most of the time talking about that. He was just trying to get me to talk. Towards the end of the lunch, he said, no, I think you've got it wrong. I don't want to get into the movie business. I just thought if you would like to get out of it. Everybody really wants to make a movie. It's, you know, you don't exist unless you've made a movie. There's that story of somebody over UCLA who walked around Westwood, you know, where UCLA is, and asked every person that he met, how's your screenplay going? And was up to about 12 before he met somebody who said, I'm actually not working on a screenplay. Because every student who comes here seems to have this dream to create an imaginary world, and thinks of that as being not simply a movie director, but being an author, producer, screenwriter, and director, and editor. And that, I'm afraid, is what kids straight out of high school come here to do. And, of course, it's a fantasy. It betrays an arrogance, which is a necessary arrogance, because your energy in this world, I understand it because I was exactly like that at that age myself.
It may be a very American trait that you believe that you should be able to do everything yourself. It's the kind of thing that Orson Welles' model certainly inflicts on 18-year-old students to believe that the director as God. Sandy would challenge that over and over again by simply plunking us down with all the other gods and forcing us to really defend our pieces, our ideas.
Sandy had a wry attitude about Hollywood. I think he had a very rough time here creatively, and I think there's no doubt that he was somewhat bitter about the treatment the Hollywood system affords skilled directors.
I think it's a challenge for the student, which Sandy thinks is absolutely important that it be met, that he deny you access to things, that he tell you that no, you probably can't write, and no, you can't direct, because he knows if you're really going to write and you're really going to direct, you're going to do it anyway.
It took him a while to learn how to teach. He was a bit of a bully the first couple of years, but as he grew to have more finesse, the things he passed on are going to have such extraordinary influence over the Hollywood of the next 20 years, I feel.
I wake up every morning in a way that I never did in the old days in the movie business. Wake up with a sort of eager mixture, on the one hand, of exasperation and curiosity. It is quite true that the walls of my office are covered with drawings of films that I never made, never got to make. I don't feel tremendous regret about that here. They were things that I went back to work on while waiting for something else to happen. It's been suggested on occasion that things like Mary Queen of Scots, which I worked on for about 20 years or something like that here, it's probably a good thing that it never was made, because one can always go back to it and dream about it. I do remember one occasion, about a couple of years after I'd been teaching here, when I had to go down to Beverly Hills to post a letter, and I was trying to find a place to park my car. And as I maneuvered into a parking space, I suddenly realized that I had tensed up, my stomach was in a knot, and I wondered why it was. And then I realized that it was a parking space outside my ex-agent. And at that point, suddenly I felt relaxed, and I felt a relief that I wasn't in that business anymore. And that's when I knew I'd made the right decision.
I know he is brilliant, that he has a fantastic mentality where he reaches for certain aspects of the film where he sees it in different ways, always some way that's more revealing, more artistic, more profound. He's heads and shoulders above the average run-of-the-mill, so it's called, director, who just says, fine, cut, print, all right, next setup here, blah, blah, blah. And believe me, there are some with great reputations who are very mundane in the manner in which they work. And he's in a very special class.